Hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to build an AI app in the next hour that can actually make you money. And we're going to do it by solving one of the internet's most painful problems. And that is writing a dating bio that doesn't actually suck. So here's what you're going to build. An app that critiques someone's dating profile bio, then rewrites it to actually be charming. One button, pure AI magic. No complicated frameworks, no CS degree required. The best part is that the same process works for any AI app idea that you have. Dating bios today, maybe business ideas tomorrow. In the next 20 minutes, we are going to be building a real working app that is integrated with AI functionality, handles user authentication, and saves data to a database. Even if you've never written a line of code, don't worry. All you need is an idea, a couple of AI tools, and the ability to type on your keyboard. Let's get started. All right, so here is our plan. So first step, we are going to flesh out our product idea like we usually do. We'll figure out who our target demographic is, maybe spend a little bit of time on the aesthetics, and ultimately plug all of that into GPT and have GPT generate the actual starting prompt for Lovable. The next step is actually using that prompt and plopping it into Lovable to generate our front end. The third step is we're going to set up our backend. In this case, it's going to be on Supabase, and we're going to integrate our Lovable project and Supabase together. The fourth step is adding some basic authentication, giving the ability for people to actually sign up and log in. And then finally, the crux of the video for today is connecting to an actual AI model. In this case, we are going to connect to GPT, which is the model behind ChatGPT. We're going to connect to their API, specifically OpenAI's API, which is the company that owns ChatGPT. So we're going to do all of that today. Let's jump into it. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Sunny. I'm a serial founder now on my fourth startup. I used to work as a senior engineer at Shopify and Bloomberg, and currently an adjunct professor at Columbia Business School where I teach technology. Listen, I have been building software for nearly 15 years, well before AI, and I've made all of the mistakes so you don't have to. I'm here today, and I'm here across all my videos, so that way I can help you get your idea out into the world. Let's get started with our first step. All right, so what we want to do in our first step is we want to think a little bit more about our product vision, and we're going to plug in some notes on aspects of that product vision into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to generate a prompt that we can then use in Lovable. So we're literally we're prompting an AI tool, ChatGPT, to generate another prompt for another AI tool, Lovable. This is what we call meta prompting. It's very effective. And what we want to do is we want to just think about the inputs of that prompt, really aspects of the overall product vision. So I've pre-prepared some aspects here. Now, a quick note, some of this was AI generated, but it was AI generated and it really had a lot of input from me, and I edited a lot of this stuff. And the reason I bring that up is I want to just make this point that when you're early in the process of building a product, it is very important for you to really have your point of view represented in the process. Because at the end of the day, your perspective, your point of view is going to be more specific and is in many cases and many instances going to be superior to what a very generic AI model can offer. So it's very important that you are carving out the product process early so that way it propagates throughout the overall software development process downstream. So what I mean is, think about your personas. You can certainly consult with AI models. Think about your aesthetics. Again, you can consult with AI models. Think about your features, but you want to really make sure that you feel good about what you're building. Otherwise, it's just going to be generically generated from an AI tool. So this is where we're landing with these three components. So our persona, The user is just looking for love. They're not just looking for love, they're looking for confidence. And that's really getting into the psychographics of the target persona. We're not just talking in terms of age, gender. We're actually talking in terms of where they are, like, psychologically. They're looking for confidence, but they already have self-awareness that the bio could be better. They value presentation and first impression. So we're getting into the things that they value, the things that they're feeling, the level of self-awareness. These are pretty important things to think through when you're building, especially in the early part of building a product. Some very light aesthetic notes. I didn't go crazy here. Clean, minimal, lots of white space. I love the clean and minimal. Calm and polished. We're going to come back to colors. And then this is really very important. The features, which is user pastes their bio and we rewrite suggestions. So a note here is we're going to connect to OpenAI's API to generate the AI stuff, but we're going to do that in a later step. But before I plug this into ChatGPT, let's actually go to Coolers. I love this website. It basically has ready-made palettes for you. And let's pick one. So we want something that's super clean. I don't like this one. Let's actually explore the trending ones. And let's actually look for monochromatic. I want something super simple. Maybe just a very simple blue. I think I can get behind this blue Serenity. So let's go ahead and copy this. I'm going to copy this as CSS and then put this in here. All right, so now that we've finalized the different components of this starting prompt, let's go to ChatGPT. We're going to start it off with this. I'm going to copy and paste this right here, and then let's discuss. So I want to build an app that critiques and rewrites dating profile bios. I'm going to build this in Lovable, so generate a prompt for me. This prompt should include all the components of the product I pre-planned listed below. So now we'll go ahead and copy these 3 components here. And let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. So while ChatGPT is writing that, I want to just make another point. Here's the deal. We are not trying to be everything for everyone with this product. This product will do one thing and one thing well. It will take your dating bio profile and make it better. We are not building a resume writer. We're not building a LinkedIn profile optimizer. We're building something super specific. And that specificity is actually what makes this product valuable. And that's how you really create value. Now, one could ask, why can't users just go to ChatGPT itself? And if you are asking that, then that's clear that you have a good instinct. But here's the reality. People don't pay for raw AI. They actually pay for AI in context. So ChatGPT, it gives you a blank canvas. And increasingly, while it is becoming a very sophisticated blank canvas, it's still a blank canvas. You could literally ask it anything. But in our product gives users exactly what they need in the moment, which is a dating profile bio rewrite. So think about it. Someone could open ChatGPT and type rewrite my dating bio to be funnier, but they won't. They're not going to do it. It's too much friction. No one likes prompt engineering. No one likes figuring out what prompt to put. They also want to make sure that the output is catered to the specific use case. But in our product, it will say something like paste your bio with pre-prepared styles. See, that's more effortless than a blank canvas. That's why they're going to use our product, because it's the context that's the product. So now that I made that point, let's move forward. Let's see what ChatGPT has generated. So here is what ChatGPT has generated. This is our prompt. Cool. So our users just looking for love. It's taking all of our components and packaging it up into one cohesive prompt that hopefully Lovable can understand. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go ahead and copy this and paste this into Lovable. Actually, I just want to instruct Lovable that eventually we are going to use AI to do the rewrites. But for now, let's hold on building that because I want to save that for step 5. And this touches on a very, very effective strategy when working with a lot of AI tools. You want to really break up a larger process into smaller chunks, it tends to increase the probability of success with these systems. Of course, if you give a much larger process and workflow to an AI system, there's more risk for things kind of going off the rails. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So note, eventually the rewrite is going to be done through AI, but for now, we will hold on the actual AI capability. I think that's good enough. All right, so we provided our prompt. Let's see what Lovable produces on the other side. All right, so it looks like we are done with our front end. Let's play around with this. Let's also read the logs. It's also very important to just like read what Lovable has done. Okay, so it's doing a mock critique, meaning that's eventually going to be connected with AI. All right, cool. So let's see. Let's do something really dumb, like please date me. Bio's too short. Okay, cool. I am a single person living in a big city. Please date me. I like this. Okay, great. Awesome. So this is super simple. It's working. Okay, but it didn't follow our color palette. So let's see what happens. Oh, well, it looks like I forgot to paste the color palette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to just reprompt. Well, not reprompt. I'm going to add another prompt here. Okay, great. So we updated this with this new palette. I like it. It's very calming. So this all looks fantastic. Now that we have a front end, we need to actually build a functioning app, and that requires a back end. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Supabase as per usual. We will use Supabase for our back end because it just makes things so easy, so simple. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to connect it through Lovable. Lovable used to support Supabase right up here very easily, but they're now pushing their own cloud product. For now, we are just going to stick with Supabase. So to connect with Supabase, I'm going to click this cloud button and then click this link right down here to connect to Supabase. All right, so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to create the project here. We'll call it Dating Bio App. And let's go ahead and create the new project. So what we're doing is we're creating a new project in Supabase. And then once this project has been created, we will then connect it in Lovable. Okay, so Supabase project has been created. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and connect it in Lovable. So I'm going to go back to Lovable. We see this Supabase project has just been created here. So I'm going to click this connect button. And now we're linking Lovable and Supabase together. Fantastic. So the first step that I want to do is I want to set up auth. I pre-prepared a prompt here. Let's set up user accounts in Supabase and then set up login and sign up flows. And what that will do is it'll set up our login, sign up, and all things related to authentication. Okay, so of course, because we're making changes to our backend, Lovable will always prompt us and ask us if those changes look good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this arrow right here just to read what's happening. I'm not actually reading the code. I'm reading the comments here in gray. So it looks like it's creating a profiles table. It's creating a users table. These are all things that seem to be correct. So I'll go ahead and click this allow button. Now Lovable has everything it needs to go ahead and set up all this authentication stuff. So let's see what she comes up with on the other side. Okay, so it looks like we have set up authentication. Let's go back to our preview and just confirm. Okay, so it looks like we have a sign in page. We also have a sign up page. I just want to verify stuff on the back end. So let's actually go to our Supabase instance here. And I just want to see, firstly, what's in our database in terms of tables. So looks like we have 3 tables here. User roles, not sure what that is. We'll find out in a moment. Profiles, this is going to be where user-specific information lives. And the actual bios, these are going to be additionally like the bios that users save. But in addition, I want to also draw your attention to the authentication section. This is the users table and authentication. This is where like the actual users are going to live. The profiles table, you can think of it as almost supplementary, additional pieces of information that we would like to save for each user. So one other thing I want to draw your attention to is this sign in and provider. So this is a lot of configurations as it pertains to your authentication flow. You don't have to learn about all these things to get a product going, but I do want to draw your attention to this switch here. So what I'm doing is I'm turning this little setting off, and what this is the confirm email setting. So what this does is every time a user signs in for the first time, they have to confirm their email. They get a link to their email, they click confirm, and then they're logged in for first-time users. I have turned that off. So typically, that's good practice to have it. It prevents spam bots. The reason why I'm turning it off is because I plan on testing my auth flow quite a bit, which will require me creating a lot of accounts. So I just want to make the testing process much easier. Once I'm ready to deploy it to production and go live and all that fun stuff, I'll probably turn it back on. So now that that's off, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to sign up. So we're just going to use sunny@gmail.com. That's not my real email. So let's see, sign up. Oh, well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Well, let's see. All right. Okay, so the sign up process is a little janky. Totally fine. This is working. That's most important. And great. So now we kind of have a generally functioning app with a few bugs here and there. So the next step that we're going to do is we are going to connect to OpenAI's API, so that way we can link this to ChatGPT. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we are going to connect to OpenAI's API. So in order for us to do that, you will need to create a developer account at OpenAI. To do so, you just go to platform.openai.com. And from there, you will be asked to put down a credit card. They do require a credit card, but you could literally just put down $5 just to get it going. And what you'll probably want to do is you'll want to make sure that auto recharge is not enabled. I always recommend this for especially junior developers, new builders, because what we don't want is a situation where you are constantly hitting the API. Maybe there's like some bad piece of code that's happening, and you don't want it to just be indefinite, for it to be continually recharging. That way, if you fund it for $5, then the max that you will lose is $5. Just like a little bit of a risk management thing. Of course, when your product is live, you could probably put on auto recharge, or even more prudent, maybe just fund it like a larger amount, but keep that auto recharge off in the event that something bad happens. Maybe there's a hacker that exploits some vulnerability and you just don't want to be on the hook for a large OpenAI bill. So just a little caveat there. Other than that, the next thing that we will need is an API key from OpenAI. So to get to the screen, I went to settings and I'm going to go to API keys here. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new API key. So we'll say dating bio app. I just want to be very specific so that way I know which API key belongs to what. Great. So we have this API key here. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to copy this and put this somewhere safe. And now what we're going to do next is we are going to instruct Lovable to essentially set this connection with OpenAI up. So here's what I will prompt Lovable. I want the actual rewrite of the dating bio app to come from OpenAI's GPT API. I already have an API key, which I will save in the backend. Please generate an edge function that connects to the API and hook that edge function up to the front end. So while it's doing that, let's actually talk about what I just wrote. So basically, the actual logic that is going to connect to OpenAI is going to sit in what we call an edge function. So firstly, what is an edge function? So an edge function is essentially a small piece of code that runs in Supabase. And in our case, it's going to be the code that actually talks to OpenAI directly. Here's how it essentially is going to work. Our front end is going to send a request to the edge function, which is sitting in our Supabase instance. And then that edge function is then going to communicate to OpenAI. OpenAI is going to send its response back, and then that Supabase will send the response to our front end. Now, what is being sent along the way? Well, certainly the bio that needs to be rewritten and some instructions around that bio in terms of what ultimately GPT needs to do. So that's what an edge function is. Now let's go back to Lovable. So it looks like Lovable is asking for that key. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that key and paste it here. Great. So now that Lovable has the key, it's going to continue setting up that edge function. Okay, so Lovable claims it's done. Before we run anything, let's actually take a look under the hood to our backend. So I'm back in my backend. So this is our Supabase project. We've covered a lot of different menu items in past videos. We've covered our table editor, authentication. Let's actually talk about our edge functions here. So this is where that function that Lovable just created is going to live. This is literally what Lovable just created. It says a few seconds ago. Let's click on it and explore. So this is basically all the information around how many times it's been called, some performance operation metrics. You can actually see the number of calls here, invocation requests. So it's basically how many times the front end calls this. But let's also look at the code. So again, I know a lot of people tend to freak out when they look at code. No worries, we will go through this together. So what's happening here is it is actually calling the OpenAI API. So this is the actual API. This is what we call an endpoint, which is a specific piece of the API that we're connecting to. And it's basically just fetching a response from it. But it's also including some information on what the AI model should do. We call that a system prompt. This is what the system prompt says. This is what Lovable has generated. You are a dating profile expert. Analyze bios and provide constructive feedback, then rewrite. It's also giving some guidance in how we want the response to be, giving some guidance around the format of the critique. So that's a system prompt, and then it's also providing the user prompt, which is the actual prompt, which has the actual bio, and that is what this is here. Cool. So this all looks good to me. Now let's go back. I'm going to refresh just for good measure, and I'm going to put in a dating bio. So I'm going to just use that generic one I used in the beginning. I am single and I live in a big city. Please date me. So this is like a fabulously terrible bio. Let's see what they say. So first we're asking for a vibe. Let's say confident. So it looks like we're not really getting anything here. So something has gone awry. Okay, so anytime this happens, we have ways of figuring out what's going on under the hood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our edge function, and I'm actually going to go to this log. So logs kind of give some indication on what's happening when we actually call this edge function. So we see here that we get some errors. Failed to parse OpenAI, error in the function. So this is good. This is actually good enough for Lovable to do its magic. So Lovable actually has access to these logs. So here's what I'm going to say. It looks like when we call the edge function, we get some errors. Please review the errors and make a fix. Okay, let's see what she does. Okay, so it looks like it fixed it, or maybe not. I'll fix the issue is returning an empty response. So it looks like it's doing some more error handling and response validation. Let's see if this fixes it. I'm not sure it will, but let's see. Okay, so we're going back here. I am single and live in a big city. Please date me. So I don't think this is working again because I'm not getting anything back. So I'm going to go back here and refresh. So by the way, I went to the logs and I don't see the response here, but a lot of times that's simply because it takes like a second for the logs to update. So clearly empty content. I'm going to go back here and just, again, I'm literally just going to copy this and paste it. Okay, so it looks like it fixed it. It looks like there was an issue, a token allocation issue. Again, if you don't know what that means, don't worry. Just know that there was an issue with our implementation with ChatGPT's API. It's all you need to know. That's like the lowest level of abstraction that you need to know. And it looks like it's been fixed. So let's refresh. I'm going to paste that. Oh, whoops. No. I'm going to write that terrible profile again. I am single. I live in a big city. Please date me. Again, I don't think it's working. Okay, so the good news is, oh, okay, so we got something. I think that there's probably a little bit of a delay. Let's try this again. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything here. Not sure what is happening. Let's go back to the logs here. Okay, I mean, let's see. Let's take a moment. Okay, so like we are getting something. Look, this is a response from AI. So let's go back. Okay, so this is updated. I think I see the issue. There's a little bit of a delay here that's happening. It's taking more time than we think to actually connect to OpenAI. So what I'm going to tell Lovable is this. Looks like when we click analyze my bio, it takes a couple of seconds to get a response from OpenAI's API. Let's have some kind of spinner or indication that the request is processing for the user. So this is actually more of a UX thing because it's going to take as long as it's going to take to get the response from OpenAI, but we should indicate to the user that this is processing because otherwise it just feels like it's broken. So this looks like it's working, or it looks like it did it. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and add this here. Great. So it's analyzing. Now we can take a breath and know that this is working behind the scenes. It's just a little slow. Okay, so now it's working. The bio is clear about your relationship with status and intent. That's great. So there's no ambiguity about what we're looking for. Great. The all caps, desperate tone. So I get that. I'm coming off desperate here. So let's choose a flirty vibe here. Cool. Single in the city and dangerously close to stealing your hoodies and maybe your heart. Okay, so this is okay. This is probably something we can do better with prompt engineering, but that's out of scope for this video. So now we have a totally, fully working app. And you know what's interesting? We could have built this to give users maybe 15 different style options: funny, professional, romantic, mysterious, whatever. But we didn't. We gave them just a couple of options. Because here's the deal. Nobody wants to prompt engineer their dating bio. They just want one button, maybe a few options that just works. Ease of use will always beat raw power. If you make people think way too much, they just won't use it. If you make it dead simple, they'll use it and they'll tell their friends, which is really what we're after here. And that is the difference between a tool and a product. All right, look at what we just built. We have a working product. The product that uses AI to critique and upgrade dating bios. We connected to OpenAI's API. That's huge. We set up a database in Supabase, and we built a front end that actually looks decent. So we covered a lot of stuff today. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this app, make it your own, change colors, tweak the prompts. Definitely tweak the prompts. That's really the biggest room for improvement here. Build it, ship it, put it online. I want to see what you actually get out there. And here's the broader lesson. Most viral apps, they start as a joke. They start as like a small piece of utility. But if you add a premium feature right where people care most, then that's really how you can build a product into an actual business. So if you stuck around till the end of the video, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I will see you in the next video.